And I go all the way back, because I think it was Procter & Gamble sometime in the 60s who came up with this idea, and I am led to believe that this came because they were wondering why some of their washing powder brands sold better than others of their washing powder brands, in spite of the fact that it was effectively the same bloody powder in them. It was just slightly different brand, right? One was a premium brand, the other was more a discount brand, etc. So they came up with this concept of human value drivers. The most important ones being hope, belonging, feeling important, security, and getting more out of life, which is again no news. Probably, hopefully, something that if you are a brand or working with brands, you're loosely familiar with, etc. Hope has an interesting double take because there's hope for sex and hope for money. They are the two biggest drivers. To illustrate this a little bit, hope for sex. If you remember, I mean, Bacardi can't this now, unfortunately, because it wasn't really PC. But the old Bacardi ads, you basically had incredibly good-looking people. All nice and sweaty, celebrating some party at the beach in the Caribbean. And that was it. Now, they weren't selling rum, they were selling hope for sex in bottles, because everyone basically thought, that would actually be quite nice. Hope for money, Las Vegas. Vegas actually, or Monte Carlo, whoever, but they don't sell you. So the value that they try to transport is not that you go there and you go away as a millionaire. It's the hope to win. It's the hope to do that. That is the value they deliver. Which is why no one actually feels ripped off when they go out of a casino having lost money. Because that's probably going to happen. But the hope that it might happen, that is what they're selling. Belonging, the Grateful Dead, I'm not sure if you can see this, is probably the classic there. They didn't actually make very much money at all with their music as such, but they built this army of fanatics that would A, spread the word, but also B, spend tons of money going to their concerts, buying merchandise at a time when the term merchandise probably wasn't even invented. But again, there was such a clear value exchange because their fans were, they were a part of this inner circle. Music per se very much works on this. Any sports fan, the only reason why you can sell an Arsenal shirt for about 100 quid to an Arsenal fan is because they don't actually mind, because they want to belong, they want to show that they belong to their club. Feeling important is probably pretty self-explanatory. Security, my guess is as well, as is get more out of life. Now, in the mobile world, or in the digital world, if you wish, there are equivalents. Photomatic was a fairly successful dating service, so we say, in the UK. The worst series of poker ran, and already, I don't know, 5 years before the iPhone, they had a very, very successful mobile game out, which played around with virtual chips, etc. The belonging side, Facebook's probably a big one because it allows you. Facebook as a platform allows you to, create that circle of friends, but also go out and affiliate yourself with brands and that you care for. Feeling important piece, that's probably when all the wonderful achievements and badges come in, where you can, also subtly show off that, oh yes, I do have the Jet Setter badge. Security, BlackBerry is probably a fairly big one. I mean, as we know, since the rise last year, even 5 can crack it. And then something like Groupon is basically riding very much on the same stuff. Now, why am I talking about this? Because those two pieces here, belonging and feeling important, they are not maybe by definition at the center, but very, very often at the center of playing games. And now, as Procter & Gamble has already shown us, if you can address a human value driver, if you can sell someone in inverted commas on this belonging thing, they will not feel ripped off. Because you deliver value. It might be extremely expensive, but you deliver the value that you promised to deliver. And then all of a sudden, you know, it's balanced out. People don't think you're Bernie Madoff or Saruman or whoever, but they actually think, oh, this is fair. This is what I bargained for, and this is what I was hoping for, and this is what they delivered. And this is from in the pure gaming world as a game developer or publisher, but also in particular in the brand environment. That is arguably, you know, the absolute basis that you need to make sure if you go out and use those media to make sure you're not damaging your brand. You know, when you I don't know, you go out and some premium kitchenware provider whose products I bought, you know, they're tweeting all the time. Now then, their product screwed up and their customer service wasn't reachable, and I tried to hit them via Twitter and they didn't even reply. You know, and this is the thing. I'm not Chris Brogan in terms of followers, but so you know. But imagine I would have been. That thing would have exploded in their face. In their faces, it would have been absolutely horrendous because they did not deliver the value that they promised, that their brand promises to deliver. So that's a very, very important piece. And here's the next one, and that is, again, probably fairly known. So you know, it's on the example of coffee. You go from a commodity to a packaged product onto a service, and then the reason why Starbucks was so successful is arguably not because their coffee is better, although you could claim that both in the US and in the UK that is the case, but because they're selling an experience. So the value they deliver is actually in that overall experience. You know, and when you go to Starbucks or Nero or whoever, you know, it's not just some kid that hands out coffee. No, it's a barista, and that obviously means it must be better coffee. Now you might actually rationally know that it's not better coffee. That's the same one as in some little corner coffee shop, but they sell that experience so much better. And therefore, the perceived value is higher, which is arguably the reason why you can charge more. Now, the reason why I've been ranting on and on about this is when you go back to games, and as I said, you can actually apply this to other stuff as well. You have to have a look, what is the essence? You know, what is the essence? And you have to have a look at this before you start designing. If you're Volkswagen and you commission a game, a racing game, etc., make sure you actually made up your mind about all those things before you start designing this game. Because if you don't, then you know, just to use a couple of social tools to sprinkle across a game won't make it this violently viral sensation immediately. Because at the end of the day, it is those social dynamics which you have to design into it. So once you got that, then there's a couple of tools, and I will not harp on too much about it with one game developer in the room. That would probably be asking too much. But there is, when you want to you know, address your users, you don't normally have them all on one platform, right? I mean, my son will not change his girlfriend because she has an iPhone and he has an Android, or because she's on Orange and he's on Vodafone. Social interaction does not normally grow in technological silos. So Skoda, which is my old company, it's now part of RIM, but still very, very cross-platform. We're a social gaming platform, big toolkit. I think we're actually at 135 million users now or so, across Android, across iOS, now across BlackBerry, but also Windows Phone 7. And then we support a number of middleware solutions and engines, which are very, very important when you develop games. Maybe not so if you don't. There's a plethora of tools in there which we sort of clustered into 3 buckets, underpinned by some analytics suite. On the discovery side, the idea is, you have to increase your installed base.